Well, it's my honor, I get to introduce Mr. Harvey Catchings. I just met Harvey. I've spoken to him on the phone several times, and it's been a real pleasure getting to know him today as well. And I made sure we had one of these gooseneck microphones so we could do that. But Harvey Catchings is believed to be the only former Weatherford College student to play in the National Basketball Association, the NBA. Yes. He's a native of Jackson, Mississippi. He attended Weatherford College. What'd you say? Okay. He attended Weatherford College on a basketball scholarship in 1969 and 1970. He transferred to Hardin-Simmons University, where he scored over 1,200 points and pulled down 837 rebounds as a 6'10" center. He was named Honorable Mention All-America in 1972, Third Team All-American in 73, and again Third Team All-American in 1974. He earned a bachelor's degree in behavioral science. Before we get to his NBA life, he has 3 children. Did I get that right? 4. How many? 5. I'll let you tell about your children. Don't want to leave anybody out. But I do need to mention your daughter, Tamika Catchings, who is a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame herself. Back to Harvey. His NBA career over 11 seasons, played for the Philadelphia 76ers, the New York Nets, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Los Angeles Clippers. He played in 3 Eastern Conference Finals and 1 NBA Finals. In his 11 NBA seasons, he had more than 1,200 blocks. He is one of only 43 players in NBA history to have 10 blocks in 1 game.
Wow.
You need to play for the Mavericks. We don't have any defense at all. He's the all-time leader of defensive box plus minus in Bucks franchise history. If you know who played for the Bucks, a guy named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played for the Bucks. There's a guy named Giannis now who plays for the Bucks. He had a higher percentage than those 2 did in that particular stat. He said they'll make a little more money than he would. He later broadcast Chicago Bulls games on the radio, worked in mortgage lending, and now owns a promotional products company. After his playing career, he served as a national spokesperson for the NBA's Stay in School program, traveling the country to speak to junior high and high school students. It is my honor and privilege to recognize and to invite to the front Mr. Harvey Catchings, Distinguished Alumnus.
How's everybody doing today? You know what? I gotta tell you, I love these rolling chairs. I love that. You know, young people don't understand. But once you start getting our age, it's a whole different ballgame. You know, it's funny, when Ben and I first started talking, and he said, you won the Distinguished Award, and thank you for that, Ben, I appreciate it, in the committee that nominated me. And he said that you're our honoree, one of our 3 honorees for the year. I said, oh, okay. I said, wow. I said, oh, that's great. So then he sent me all the information on all the others that had won before me, and I was like, wait a minute. Y'all got Stedman down here. What is Stedman? No, just kidding. But first of all, I guess I really don't have very much else to say since Brent had already told my story. But I would like to say this. We had a great time here at Weatherford Junior College when we were here. And we stayed at the there was a big house down on Elm Street that all the athletes used to stay in. And when I came in early, I said, let me go by and see if it's still there. And I went by, and sure enough, it's still there. And it actually looks really, really good. I even took some pictures of it to send to Stedman so that he would say, oh, yeah. And then we would go up on the hill and play. And, so that was good. But one of the things that I remember about being here at Weatherford was that everybody seemed so friendly. You know, when he mentioned that I came from Jackson, Mississippi, that was back in a time when it wasn't fashionable to be a person of color in Mississippi, and pretty much the same today. But UCLA, and she knew Denny Crum, and she knew John Wooten. And she knew, now this is something that you don't know, or that you didn't mention, Brent, thank you, Jesus. You know that I played in the band when I was in high school. I was all-state 3 years in a row playing drums. I could never understand why they always had me in the back. You know, then he said, Harvey, if I put you up front, nobody, just like he told me to get out of the way right here, nobody can see behind you. So, but anyway, I said, you know what? I'm gonna try playing basketball. I was 6 feet, 6 inches tall. I said, I'm the tallest kid in school. Kept getting reeled by everybody in the school, and sure enough, I decided to go out to basketball. But the coach that we had was not very, very desirable. And I said to myself, after playing 6 games, you know, I don't need this. I'll just go back to the band. And I just put basketball aside. When I went out to, my aunt wanted me to come out to UCLA because she said, you know, I want you to meet Denny Crum and, you know, and John Wooten. So I went out and I met them, and I worked out for them. And obviously, I mean, you know, I wasn't on the basketball team before, so I wasn't UCLA material at that time. You put in a phone call to Bill McDonald, who was the coach. I don't know if you guys remember Bill McDonald. He was the coach here. Great guy. I mean, you know, wonderful smile. You know, you shake his hand and you know that he's sincere. So Denny Crum set up an opportunity for me to meet him on my way back to Jackson, Mississippi. So I stopped here, he picked me up, brought me out, saw the campus, hung out, and then went back the next day. And he offered me a scholarship. Why? Because I was 6 feet, 6 inches tall. You know, so, you know, who wouldn't take a risk? I could always run and I could always jump. And I started working on my shooting and everything. But I came here, and the thing that's amazing about Weatherford College that I remember is that, number one, we had some, you know, great athletes here. We had Stedman, we had Carlos, I can't think of Carlos' last name, we had Tyrone Bass, we had Mike Ferry, Nate Chapman. I mean, we had some good guys, and we had a good team. And so I went from being obscure from the standpoint of knowing the game of basketball to actually making the all-conference team my first year here at Weatherford Junior College. That was God. That had nothing to do with me. That was God. And when we got to the end of the season, and I'm going to try to, you know, I'm going to try to cut this down to about an hour and a half. When we got to the end of the season, Coach McDonald called us in, and he said, he gave me a 2-year scholarship, so y'all owe me a year. He called me in, and he said, you know, they're dropping the basketball program. And we couldn't understand because, I mean, we were successful. You know, we had guys that were coming back. We had a good team. We were going to make a good run next year. And he said, no, they're going to, you know, cut down the program. So I said, okay. So we put our names out there, and I got 60 offers from NCAA colleges around the country for scholarships. That was God, because I'm telling you, you don't go from playing 6 games in high school and then get to that point and then further on making it to the NBA. But I was able to do that. And I went to Hardin Simmons, and the thing about Coach Whitus is that he said, if you come with me, I'll make you an All-American by, you know, your senior year. You know, yeah, okay, yeah, thank you, appreciate it. You know, I like what you're saying, but, you know, I got a long ways to go. And sure enough, you know, those things came to fruition. I got to my senior year, and I got drafted by Philadelphia, and that was an interesting experience going to training camp, because you're going against guys that take this seriously. You know what I mean? Like when you're in college, you're like, okay, all right, we lost, y'all a big deal. But when if they family don't eat, that's a whole different ballgame, because that was their bread and butter was the game. So you get elbow, you get held, you get put, you know, all of those different things. At the end of training camp, there was a line of rookies, you know, sitting off to the side, and the coach would go over and talk to each rookie. And as soon as he finished talking to them, they would drop their head and, you know, So when he came to me, I just knew. I said, you know what? I made it this far. This was great. You know, it's a great run. I appreciate it. I said, it's a great run. He came down. He said, okay. Now keep in mind that in my senior year in college, I averaged almost 20 points a game and 12 rebounds. Okay, you plant that right there. So when I'm sitting and talking to him, he said, okay, Harvey, he said, look, this is what I'm going to need from you. I don't want you to be concerned about shooting. And I'm like, because you draft based on, someone's ability. He said, I don't need you to shoot. I got Freddie Carter, I got Doug Collins, I got George McGinnis. They're going to take the bulk of the shots. He said, this is what I want you to do. And this is what I tell kids all the time when I talk to them. Find your zone. Find the area that you have strengths in and focus on those areas. He said, Harvey, if you don't remember anything else, he said, look, I need you to rebound. I need you to block shots. I need you to do the little things that will make a good team a great team, because you're very mobile. You can get them down the floor. You can do a lot of different things. Now, you get your points off the rebound. So don't worry about shooting. He said, if you do what I say, you'll go a long way in the NBA. And believe me, there are very few players that have made it past 10 years in the NBA. So that was God, because I had no idea. The average career is 4.7 years. So you work all your life to play 4.7 years in the NBA, and then you go find something else to do. But I was able to last for 11 years. Now, when I decided to retire, my kids were at a point where they were coming into their own, and they were doing their own things. And like Brent said, I have a daughter that was she's in the Hall of Fame. And this is a girl that would never say no. She said, Dad, I can do it. I said, no, me. I said, you can't do it. She said, Dad, I can beat you. I said, no, you can't beat me. I said, no, you can't. And I kept pushing her and pushing her and pushing her to the limit. Well, she pushed herself because she kept trying to be more and more competitive. I had another daughter named Taji. Now, we have one of the great things about technology now is that I've spoken in settings where people would pull out their phone and they would look up the Catchings sisters. They were notorious in Illinois when they were playing. I mean, they won, 3 state championships, All-American, all Illinois, all the awards that they had, they won. And that was an interesting perspective, because when I look back at the fact that I didn't have anybody to guide me, I could give my father basketball, and he'd be like, okay, what am I gonna do with this? Because, he ran a business. He didn't have time to, worry about playing basketball. I think he came to see me play about 3 or 4 times, but I was always there for them. And one of the things that I always tell parents is you gotta be there for your kids. Because if you don't be there for them, especially when they first started, playing, they're going to go in a direction that you don't want them to go, because there are a lot of people out there taking advantage of them. But I could go on and on. The bottom line is that, I thank you guys for this award. I appreciate the time that you've given me. It was a great experience being here, and I see a lot of lifers. How many people only lived in Weatherford their whole lives? That's amazing. That is amazing, because I've lived all over the world. But I want to thank you guys once again. I'll cut it short, because otherwise I get into a zone. And you guys will be sleeping on me and everything. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll have an opportunity to come back. And it was great seeing you guys here. I love the support that you're giving. And as I mentioned to the president, we were talking at the table, they said we would hire him again, because he knows what he's doing. And based on some of the stuff that he said, one of the things that you did mention is that, you didn't mention me in your little speech. That's okay. You say a professional athlete, but that's okay. No, too late